Hello and welcome to the Snap Revise YouTube channel. I'm Amy, and for this video we're going to talk about things that you can be doing to help you survive the exam season. Right at the top of my list for exam season essentials is a good schedule. The first thing you need to put into your schedule is obviously when each of your exams are going to be. Obviously check in with this schedule every week or every day just to make sure that you are 100% on when each of your exams are, and you might also benefit from setting alarms on your phone for the evening before the exam. So now you've got all of your exams mapped out, we can start to have a look at what your revision focus is going to be in between those exams. Whatever you decide to focus on during these revision sessions doesn't have to be set right at the start when you're making this plan, because what you think you need to focus on at this point could be different in 2 weeks' time, or when you're actually doing the exams because something suddenly occurs to you that you want to work on. Basically, just go over whatever topics are going to make you feel 100% ready for the exam. So each and every revision session that you're going to do during the exam season isn't a session to learn something new. This is like a maintenance session. So you're going to look through your notes, go through past exam papers that you've completed and annotated with errors and pointers for mark scheme notes, for example. Use these in your revision sessions during the exam season. As well as this, also use condensed notes like flashcards or posters that you've made for each topic, just something that's super easy to pick up and scan through. Don't be learning anything new in the exam season because that's just so stressful. If you're watching this video, hopefully you have some time before exams start to cover any last topics that you still need to go over. I really wouldn't recommend trying to learn new things while the exams are taking place because that's just so much to think about. Remember that each A-level paper typically covers different topics or has a different focus in terms of how you're assessed. So make sure you identify this before you sit down and plan out your revision. You want to be making sure that each revision session you do right before the exam is relevant to that exam. Also make sure to check your advanced exam information so that you're going over those topics as well, especially when you're looking at all of your notes, because we know those are the ones that are going to come up with some more marks available for them compared to topics that weren't mentioned in that information document. But still don't neglect anything on your specification because it's possible it could still come up. If your exams are scheduled really close to each other, so if you have 2 exams on one day or exams on each day one after the other, then you're going to want to really stick to whatever revision schedule you set for yourself, just so that you don't end up panicking because you haven't gone over something just before the exam. If you have got quite an intensive week, then make sure that the week before or any available time that you have, you're just focusing on the exams that are going to come up in that week. If you have papers that are coming up in 2 or 3 weeks' time, you can afford to kind of forget about those for the time being and just focus on what's coming up the soonest. Once they're done, you can completely forget about them and move on to the next focus of revision. So once you've got one paper out the way, no matter how it went, if it went well or if it went terribly, just clear that from your mind for now and then focus on the next set of revision that you need to do. If you are lucky enough to have exams that are scheduled 1 per day, so you're not having to think about multiple exams in a single day, then definitely after that exam, take at least 2 or 3 hours to just have a break from revision and from exams. Just take your mind elsewhere for that time. After exams, my favourite thing was to go and get a drink with friends, get a snack and just chill out and talk about the exam for a bit or talk about something completely different, but just take your mind off revision. If you find that you tend to be the sort of person that really dwells on how the exam went and stresses about it, then this advice is probably not very helpful, but I'm just going to say don't think about it. Once you've sat a paper, you can't change what you did in that paper. So regardless of whether it went well or not, there is no point in stressing about something that you can't do anything about. So just come out of the exam, talk about it with friends if that helps ease your stress a bit, or don't talk to anyone and just go and listen to some music. But just take some time out to just completely relax and get your brain into a fresh state of revision, ready for the next subject. To be honest, exams being in the summer really is a blessing in disguise. It might feel horrendous when you look outside and the weather's really lovely, but it means that when you have done your exams, you can reward yourself with some time spent outside. Going for a walk is one of the best things to do during the exam season, whether it's in the morning before you sit your paper or after your paper to relax a bit. really take advantage of time spent outside. Walking really is the best exercise for anybody, regardless of whether you're doing exams or not, because it gets the blood pumping. It's such an easy and accessible activity to do, and it really does leave you feeling so much better at the end of a walk. Trust me, you need to be doing it if you find that the exam season gets you feeling so stressed and pent up, because it's such a great release of energy. So alongside a good schedule, you also want to be looking after yourself, and this is so important all the time, but particularly during the exam season, because I think sometimes you can let some standards slip when you are so stressed out and trying to think about loads of different things at once. Rewards are essential in the exam season. Nothing crazy, you don't have to book a holiday or a weekend breakaway, just something to look forward to at the end of your week and also at the end of each exam. I am a firm believer that the best reward is self-care, so something that is going to benefit you, benefit your health. So try to avoid things like junk food. Don't go straight for the McDonald's or KFC as a reward. Avoid the temptation of things like this. Think of something that will be enjoyable for you as well as good for you. Sleep is essential for self-care, and when you're doing exams, you're really going to feel the benefit of getting your 8 hours of sleep. The best way to establish this routine is to get into a regular time of going to sleep and then waking up at the same time every day. You'll find that your body clock starts to reset naturally, and you find it much easier to wake up. For students doing GCSEs and A-levels, for your age group, you need to be getting at least 8 hours sleep. I think the recommendation is 8 to 10 hours of sleep. So if you aren't getting this already, then try to build this into your routine. If you want some ideas, this means getting to sleep by 11 p.m. So not going to bed at 11, but being asleep by 11, so that you can wake up at 7 a.m. having had a good 8 hours of sleep, and you should wake up feeling refreshed. If you find that you struggle to sleep, either because of the exam season, because obviously the stress can keep you up, or if you just generally struggle to sleep, then try to employ some rules like no phone in bed, no screens an hour before you go to bed, maybe doing some meditation to calm yourself down, having a nice shower, using essential oils, or just doing enough exercise in the day to physically tire you out, so that helps you drop off to sleep. Anything that's going to help you get your head down by 11 p.m. Make sure you're eating healthy whole foods with the occasional treat here and there, and drinking plenty of water. Water is the key to a really good functioning brain, so make sure that you're getting enough of that during the day. If you haven't already got one, then seriously consider getting a reusable water bottle. This is going to be so much cheaper in the long run, and it means you can just keep filling it up and using it throughout the day. You can take that into exams as well, as long as it hasn't got any text or anything on it. So on exam day itself, I always made sure to pack some snacks, something healthy, so some fruit or carrot sticks or a cereal bar, something that's easy to pick up and just have before going into the exam. Even if you aren't hungry right before the exam, try to have a snack, because you're using a lot of energy, using your brain, and obviously the stress of exams burns a lot of energy, and you don't want to have a stomach rumble during your exam. I've been there, and it is so embarrassing, and it's all you can think about when you're trying to answer your exam questions. So a little snack and some water just before your exam should cure that. So finally, within self-care for exam season, we have stress management. Obviously the exam season is quite stressful, but there are some very easy ways of making sure that you don't get completely overwhelmed by this stress, because it can really affect your exam performance. A technique that I know I've talked about a few times in these videos is square breathing or box breathing. This is such an effective stress management technique. It's one that I use not just when I'm stressed, but when I want to sit down and focus on something. Just employing a bit of square breathing really does center you and gets rid of those nerves. You know, when you've got like that lump in your throat, it really gets rid of that. If you don't know what this is, it's about inhaling for 4 counts, holding that inhale for 4 counts, exhaling for 4 counts, and holding the exhale for 4 counts, and then repeating that cycle as many times as you think you need it. Even just taking a deep breath every now and then is so helpful. You'll realize once you start doing breathing techniques that we do a lot of shallow breathing, and that can contribute to that feeling of stress, because you're not getting a full lungful. So make sure every now and then, even in the exam, if you feel like you haven't taken a deep breath in a while, then just do a big inhale and a big exhale, and I think you'll find that will help you out a lot. So my final tip for surviving the exam season is socialising. Exams are quite an isolating time. I don't know if it still works this way, but when I was doing my A-levels, we used to go home and only come in to do the exam. So you could go quite a long time without seeing your friend group, especially if you're all doing different subjects. Because you have such different schedules, make sure that you really do make an effort to chat to your friends and check in with them as well, because others might not be coping as well as you are. And if you're not coping very well, then you should reach out to somebody and let them know, because you're all in it together. Even if you have different exam schedules, you're all going through the same thing. So really make sure that you try to support each other. It's also a good idea to try and make an effort to chat to your family or people that you live with, people that are nearby. Just reach out so that you don't get too much into your own head. After the exam is also a great time to chat to people, especially if they don't have an exam coming up straight after that one, because I think everybody's kind of in the mood to just zone out a bit and have a bit of a chat, especially about what was in the paper. Alternatively, you might want to just go home and not talk to anybody, and that's completely respectable as well. So just make sure that you're taking care of yourself during the exam season. Do what feels right to you. Don't get stressed out by what other people are doing, and just make sure that you are polishing up on your revision throughout so that you can go into each exam feeling so ready to answer every single question. Remember, as long as you've done your prior preparation for the exam and you've put in all of that effort into doing exam practice, you're going to be completely fine. It might help to plan something really exciting as a reward for the end of the exam seasons, so something big. That's completely dependent on what you like as an individual, but just something that you know you're going to look forward to really helps when it gets a bit tough throughout the exams. I hope this video helps. If you're watching this, then I'm assuming you are at the start of the exam season or during the exam season. Just remember that whatever happens on results day, there is always something that you can do about whatever result you get. So whether that is the result you wanted or whether it's a result you didn't quite want, there is always something that you can do. So don't get too stressed out if you are feeling super stressed right now and that's why you're watching this video. Everything will be okay. For more help with getting ready with your exams, you might want to have a look at the rest of the Snap Revise channel, and if you aren't already, you can subscribe to us just here. We have tons of videos that are going to help you, and a good place to start could be just here. Thanks again, good luck with exams, and make sure that you're taking care of yourself during the exam season.